What's the weirdest fetish your partner has had? I have a couple for this one. One guy I knew liked to fuck my armpit, just lubed up the pit, put my arm down to my side and did his thing. Which honestly was pretty funny when I looked down and just saw the head of his dick playing peek-a-boo from my underarm. Another had a nose fetish. Like he wanted to lick and put his tongue up my nose, pick it with his fingers, that sort of thing. He would also pick his own nose when he masturbated. Haircutting, or his hair fetish, if that's the term? I had a boyfriend during my freshman college year that often wanted to use scissors to cut length off my long hair multiple times during makeout sessions, not quite foreplay, but just part of the kissing and cuddling. The relationship lasted for a few months, but I did seem to lose enough length for it to be noticeable overall, lol. That was a year ago, so it's all grown back by now. It was weird at first, but so wholesome. My boyfriend likes to kiss my freckles. I have them literally everywhere, stretch marks, scars. Any imperfection of my skin. He says he likes to do it to heal me. In our culture, when a loved one, usually kids or siblings, gets hurt, it is said that a love kiss in the wound helps it heal. So, as I have my body full of imperfections, he always kisses all my body before and after sex, smiley face. I'm the weird one in my relationship. I like to buy toys to experiment with and give unique and different sensations during play. Different kinds of dildos, butt plugs, cock sheaths, etc. I like to experiment and mix things up. I also like to ritualize sex/play. Anything from something quick and easy after work every day to a full-blown scene with props and a loose script. It's a fun outlet for my creative side to really come out. I worked with a guy who dated several of the waitresses. On a slow day they all got to talking about their sexual experiences with him, and with every single one of them, he had been asking them to spit in his mouth. He wanted the spit to be cold, so he would have them stand over him and hang spit out of their mouths until it fell into his. Something about cold, air-exposed spit falling into your mouth just makes me shudder. My ex loved to fuck me until I came, and then continue fucking me. He would last so long and make me cum 2 to 3 times before he came. It was amazing, but also kind of too intimidating that he would be very firm and won't cum unless I came a few times before him and then continue fucking me and making eye contact. I actually loved that. But it was kind of wired. I would let him fuck me anytime he wants. I miss sex with him. Okay, so I read through and no one asked, so I'm afraid I have to fuck you with a loaded gun? Or like just while holding the gun? Like, did he have some fantasy about raping at gunpoint, or was he literally trying to put the barrel of a loaded weapon inside a person? Both are utterly insane, especially loaded, to me as a relatively kinky person, but I can understand. Not really the best word, the former a lot more than the latter. Just a pro tip, when a partner comes to you and tries to confide in you about something they like, don't laugh at them or make them feel like shit about it. You thought it was funny, but she probably found it very difficult to be open with you about what she likes. And you gave one of the worst responses to that openness and honesty. You don't have to be into it, but you shouldn't make her feel bad for being into it, either. Puppy play. They were really into it. I tried it for them once, but I just felt pretty weirded out the whole time. Another liked water sports a lot. I was somewhat weirded out by that too, but I was okay doing it occasionally in the shower, with them being the recipient, because it was a bit of turn on with how easily it got them off. And they in turn would be really grateful and return the favor in a more vanilla way. I had a partner who was super into ball busting and didn't tell me until we were mid-coitus for the first time. He wanted me to punch him in the nuts as hard as I could, or step on them, or even give him a good whack with a baseball bat he had in his room. I couldn't do it. I'm sure it's not that uncommon, but I hadn't met anyone before and haven't known anyone since who was into it, and in the moment it was super weird. Had someone asked me to spit in his mouth? I am so glad he didn't want to do it back to me. Had another guy who was really into being pegged. I am also surprised how many guys like sticking their tongue in asses. One guy asked me to describe the feeling and beg him to do it. Didn't mind this so much, actually having it done didn't do anything for me, but begging for it was hot, and the rest of the sex was fantastic. He had a fat fetish, he wanted to get us both as fat as possible. He would make an entire box of pasta and try to eat all of it in one sitting. He would try to feed me, and I hated it. I am 5 feet 3 inches, and have a bit of an over-average build, muscular and slim, thick. I love my body, I hated that he thought I wasn't big enough for him. I left him and now have a great man who loves my body and reminds me every chance he gets. I was with a guy once who was really into period blood. Apparently in his early sexual encounters someone started their period halfway through being eaten out and he took it for an orgasm at the time. He later learned it wasn't, but the fetish was formed. He'd want to eat me each time I had a period and was crazy for it. It really grossed me out and the relationship didn't last more than a couple of months. Yerg. Findom is so hard. It sounds easy, just tell them to give you all their money, but they want you to go into detail about how they're a worthless pay pig who doesn't deserve a cent of the money he works hard to earn, and how he should give it to you because you're a goddess and have complete control over him, and ugh. I did it with a client for 6 months, and it's the hardest job I've ever had in 21 years of sex work. I had a GF who liked golden showers, also she asked me to put fruits on her vagina, sometimes like a cucumber, that she choosed from Walmart. She liked to be punched really hard, I was like damn chill, She suggested me to make a threesome WMW, and we did it a couple of times. She also liked to make homemade porn, so I have some videos. P.S. I guess 95% of the times we had sex we were on acid or marijuana, or both. Marine X loved to be put in a diaper, given a baby bottle of rum and coke while watching cartoons, then be spanked mercilessly through the diaper. Never saw anyone come as hard as he did after his abdul roleplay. Note, I insisted the diaper remain clean. He said he didn't want to use it, it was just the feeling for wearing it. Pretty sure he wanted to use it but knew I wouldn't continue with his fetish if he did. She apparently liked to choke her partner during sex. I'm not going to kink shame here though, if that's what you like just be safe and set boundaries. Sounds like it's not even that uncommon. The weird part is she didn't tell me this and just decided to go for it. So all of a sudden she's just choking me, like a murderer would. Nope, surprising me with it is just a little too weird, thank you very much. I had a girl that liked me sticking my 2 pinky fingers up her arse, she would then clench and I would be in a pseudo-Chinese finger cuff. She had an incredibly tight arsehole, she would then use 2 freshly caught bass and slap me silly with them, and because I couldn't move, because of the Chinese finger cuff, she would make me say, please release me, oh name redacted, I swear I shall never fish in your pond again. The partner I'm with now is turned on by death. The bloodier the better apparently. The best examples I can think of are the scene in The Princess Bride where Inigo is bleeding out while fighting the 6-fingered man, and Abacchio's death in JJBA. She's admitted that both of those scenes are massive turn-ons for her, and if I'm being honest, it concerns me slightly for when we decide to take that next step. I found out there was a cheat code / console command you could type in where you could go into the build menu and pick up dog poop or flies or trash or even the Grim Reaper and delete that item. It also worked for the blur pixels and you could see your sim naked. I did this all the time for some reason, even though they looked like Barbie dolls with no genitals. Early 2000s sure was a time to be alive. Small trigger warning for self-harm. Not really my partner, more like Aons. She was really into my self-harm scars. She wanted to feel and lick them during intercourse, and I wasn't really that much against it, as it felt like I don't have to hide my body for once. But it was certainly weird and it definitely would have never worked out, as afterwards I got kinda panicky and stuff from the past came up. Me and the guy who did my intake after I was pink-slipped /5150 ed/involuntarily committed both had a thing for ethical violations. I told a later guy who was studying for his Ph.D. in psychology about how the dude who did my intake found me on Grindr and we hooked up, and Ph.D. dude thought that was super hot. My point is, it seems to be less rare than one would anticipate, especially in the psych field. Bondage itself isn't weird. But I have an ex who watched this film about a bunch of white women in a Japanese prison camp in World War II on TV one time, and she really loved role-playing that, with me as a guard. Note, I'm not Japanese, but a multiracial dude who was shorter than her, so she said I could play the guard anyway, and her the prisoner in captivity. It was something different, that's for sure. I wouldn't call it too weird, but the last girl I dated wanted it rough. She wanted to be spanked, hair pulled, her cervix smashed. It was some of the best sex I've ever had. But I fell in love and she only wanted the sex. That, along with how my ex-GF, who I was with before this girl, told me I'm not domineering enough, has kind of damaged how I see myself as a sexual partner and a romantic partner.